All right, welcome back. Unit 6, Lesson 5, Part 2. Unit 6, Lesson 5, Part 2. We're continuing with evaluating equations with square roots. Let's figure it out. Okay, example 1 here. The square root of x plus 3 equals 4. Well, this is a little bit different because now we have x plus 3 underneath the square root. And so we need to figure out how do we solve that. Well, what you want to do is you just want to square both sides because the square root is already by itself. Okay, first thing we said was let's split the equation. Okay, then we want to get the variable, the square root by itself, and it already is. So what do you do? Well, in this case, you just start by squaring the entire part of the square root. We're going to square that, and we're going to square this entire side as well. Remember what we said when we did the square root of 4 times the square root of 4? That's the square root of 4 squared. All you're left with is the original number that was under the radical. Same thing here. When we square this, what we end up with is just x plus 3. You get rid of that square root, and that's going to equal 4 squared, which is 16. Then it becomes pretty easy. How do we get this x by itself? Well, we need to do the opposite of plus 3, which is minus 3. Our 3's cancel. We're left with x equals 16 minus 3, which is 13. And you're done. Let's check our answer. Okay, we have the square root of 13, which is x, plus 3, all under the radical, equals 4. Well, what's 13 plus 3? That's 16, right? So the square root of 16, does the square root of 16 equal 4? It certainly does. So we know that that is the right answer. Square root of 16 equals 4, which means x is 13. And you're done. Let's try another one. Same process. We want to first split our equation. Okay. Part 2, get the square root or the variable by itself. Already is. Step 3, square both sides. I'm going to square both sides. Remember, when we square a square root, we just get what's underneath the radical. 8 squared is 64. Last step, getting the x by itself. Opposite of a negative 6 is a positive 6. Negative 6 plus 6, we get 0. So we have x equals 64 plus 6 is 70. And we have x equals 70. You're done. See if you can pause the video and try this next one. Figure out what you're going to do here. And come on back. First step here, getting that variable and or the square root by itself. Well, what are we doing first? First thing you're doing here is you're doing 8 times the square root of x. So what's the opposite of times? We are going to divide. We're going to divide by 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1, so we're just left with the square root of x. And over here, we have 12 over 8, which we can reduce down to 3 over 2. I know it's weird. Just bear with me. Okay. Next step, we want to square both sides. And I'll show you how to do that. The square root of x squared, we just know, we just keep doing that. We take away that x, or that square root, so we get x. Well, 3 over 2 squared is just 3 over 2 times 3 over 2. And how to do that? We'll go straight across. 9 over 4. 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. So our answer is x equals 9/4. If you want to do that as a decimal, what you can do is you can pop over to a calculator here. Do 9 divided by 4. And your answer is 2.25. You can always just press this, it goes back and forth. 2.25 as an answer. So you can have the answer of x equals 9/4 or x equals 2.25. Both great answers. Both right answers, more importantly. Let's try the last one here on this page. We have the square root of 4x equals 20. The square root of 4x equals 20. Well, the square root's already by itself, so we're going to skip right to squaring both sides. The square root of 4x squared is just, is just 4x. And 20 squared is 400. And if you don't believe me, (20 squared, 400). All right, and our last step is to get that x by itself. Well, this is 4 times x, so let's divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, so we just have x equals 400 divided by 4 is just 100. X equals 100, and you are done. So for part 2, one more page of these notes, and we will be done with this lesson. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day.